of it's not. How about, yeah. Catch up. I'm a quadratic formula. So do you have any questions about your homework? No. Good. All right, don't say that, and then we'll write the quiz.
Yeah, you're gonna give it to us next week.
Yeah. All right. Tell me some ways that we have solved quadratic equations. Graphing, that's one. Factor and solve. Square roots is another one. What else? Square roots, you're exactly right. Square roots, we've used square roots. Imaginary numbers. We've done lots of different ways, right? Some of them work some of the times. Sometimes there has to be a special situation in order to use them. But there's other than completing the square. Y'all didn't say complete the square. Complete the square. Other than complete the square, there's not been one that works all the time, right? Complete the square can get kind of messy. So we have, and this is actually a version of completing the square, you just don't realize it. We have the quadratic formula that will work all the time. Have you guys heard the quadratic formula before? Most students have at least seen it if you haven't worked with it before. But this is the be-all, end-all for quadratics. It always works, okay? No matter what, it will work. It's a last resort for us because it's so involved, but it does work. And so here's what we do. We take this quadratic that's in standard form and equals 0. So those are your keys right there. Actually, it really only has to be equal to 0, but I'm going to say in standard form and equal to 0. When we have that, we can just plug in this formula and it will give us those solutions or those x-intercepts or those places it crosses the x-axis. It solves it for us, okay? So here's the formula and it's long. Are y'all ready? You're never ready. You haven't used your brain yet. Okay, hold on. Oh, I don't think you do either. I think I clicked over here to do it, and I never did it. I got caught up with your extra credit. Today is, we're behind. Yeah, we're supposed to do this on the 26th. Is what I planned us to do. Okay, try it now. It should be there. All right, here it is. X equals, because remember that's what we're doing. We're finding out what does X equal. Did y'all's link work? Opposite B, and this is a fraction, so this is the top of the fraction I'm working with first. Notice I said opposite B. I wrote negative B, just like when we were in the equation finding the vertex, and it was just because if it starts out negative, it ends up positive. If it starts out positive, it ends up negative. So opposite B, plus or minus, there's where my two answers are coming in. The square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. You have done it. Notice the entire thing is over the 2A, not just the radical. Everybody always likes this because this is just a plug and chug kind of thing. The hardest thing about this is doing it in the right order and simplifying correctly. Y'all ready to try one with it? You think this is a lot? Yeah. Well, this is the last one. Let's start out easy. No, just that. Because this one, when you square it, it's going to end up positive anyway. So All right, here's my equation in pink up here on the top. If I solve this using quadratic formula, there's no way. All right, sometimes when you're first getting started, it helps you if you write A, B, and C under so you know what those equal. In other words, here, what is A? What is B? And how about C? Now, I'm going to hold up just a minute here and let you catch up with me because I want you to see how this all plays together. I don't want to go too fast. All right, let's replace our variables here. X equals opposite B. Yep, -2 plus or minus square root. Now I do B squared minus 4. What is A? What is C? All over 2 times. Everything you've learned about radicals applies. Everything you've learned about simplifying applies. As I go through this one, I will tell you that in order to try to be as accurate as possible, it's always best if you work under the radical first and simplify that before you do anything else, okay? Things to watch out for, because this is a minus sign, watch out for the signs under here. Remember, minus a negative is really plus a positive, right? So I got to watch out for all those things as I start working and simplifying here. All right, so let's dig in. -2 plus or minus the square root of. 2 squared is 4. Minus, what is 4 times 1 times -63? -252, right? All over 2. Be very careful that you're writing this all over 2 and not just the radical. What's wrong? It really is. It's really 4. So now I end up with -2 plus or minus the square root of. This is actually 4 plus 252 because I got minus a negative, right? So that's 256 all over 2. Can I simplify the square root of 256? What can you divide it by? 16 and what? I'm going to come over here and do it to the side so you see what's going on. Oh, it's a perfect square? There you go. Okay. That's perfect then. So I got -2 plus or minus 16 over 2. If you get in this situation where your radical disappears, I want you to simplify this into 2 different answers because I need you to understand that you're still getting the 2 answers. That's what plus or minus means. So answer number 1 is -2 plus 16 over 2. And answer number 2, -2 minus 16 over 2. Does that make sense? So I get 14 over 2, you're right, that's 7, that's one answer. Over here, I get -9, bless you, and that's the second answer. This was one that I could have factored. It would have been an easy factor. I would have gotten x minus 7, x plus 9, but you see the quadratic formula still works. What do you think? Let's do one more from the homework. Pass those around. This, by the way, was number 1 on your homework, and I think that problem. There's 12 on this sheet, and I did one of them with you already, and I'm fixing to do another one. Let's do number 6. All right, I'm going to make it equal 0 first because that's my first step. Which one should I move where? Move the 10x. I definitely would. How do I move it? Subtract it. What is A? How about B and C? All right, remember that little formula, and it's at the top of your sheet as well. All right, so x equals opposite B. What's the opposite of B? Positive 10 plus or minus the square root of B squared, so negative 10 squared, minus 4 times A. Over 2A. I'm going to work under that radical first. Negative 10 squared is what? 100. Oh, I picked another perfect square. Great day. 10 plus or minus 10 over 16. So yeah, this would give me my two different answers, right? I've got x equals 10 plus 10 over 16, and then I've got x equals 10 minus 10 over 16. Now, if this had not been a perfect square, I would need to go through and separate my radical, right? Simplify it down into two different radicals. But because this one was a perfect square, it came out pretty easy, and that means that this could have been factored as well. I can divide them both by 4. I get 5/4, and I get 0. That's fine. We get here, we try to stick with improper more than we do mixed numbers. And I got your extra credit assignment I'm going to give you. This one's not on your paper. I want you to have 10 to do. But this is one that'll come out. It shouldn't come out to be a perfect square. What's A? No. I want you to do it 10. I want you to have 10 to practice with. All right, so I'm going to do x equals opposite B plus or minus the square root of. I do B squared minus 4 times A times C. These get monotonous. They bore me a little bit. Over 2 times A. Oh, this is going to be a good one because I'm going to get an imaginary number. I end up with 25. What's 4 times 7? 28. So it's 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 over 2. So at this point, I look at my radical, and I'm looking. Can I split it up? Can I simplify it? I can't split it up, but I can simplify it, right? What do I need to do? Take that I out. That's exactly right. So I get 5 plus or minus I root 3 over 2. And you can, if it doesn't simplify, you can stop right there and leave it like that. Really. The only time you'll want to take it a little further, if you could simplify, if you had something like, I don't know, 18 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 6. You could divide everybody by 2. Never what's under the radical, only what's outside. So this, I could divide that by 6, which give me, 2. 9. And you would stop there. Thanks.